Welcome to Study Buddy, meditation philosophy for the heart of your practice. This is a live online discussion of ancient yogic texts amongst meditation practitioners in the Shambhavananda yoga tradition. My name is Acharya Satyam, resident teacher at Konalani Yoga Ashram in Hawaii, and I welcome you with love and respect. Welcome. How's it going, everyone? Looking good? Cool. Chaitanya, blasting in. Good to see you. Alaska, thawing out. Gita, I don't know what's going on. And it's not Leadville that you live in. It's another word that sounds like... No, man, but there's a word. It's like a strong town name. I'll have to... Maybe you can put it in the chat box. Derek, saw you Monday night. Were you representing at El Dorado when nobody else was there? That was cool. Right on. Good for you. And Roseanne, our local legend, welcome. Thanks for being here. All right, let's do a little... Oh, and Yogita, how's it going? Yogita, good to see you. We're going to start with Yogita's favorite, a little bit of yoga. We can start by standing. We're going to revisit our sequence from last week. Remember, it's okay if I can't see you, but good if you can even glance over to see me or hear me at least. If you remember last week, we had a little bit of a focal point on the lateral line. Gets tight through our day, limits our ability to breathe and walk efficiently. So we're going to start by just swatting the imaginary ball that's in front of us like a cat. And you just give it a little swat and you're just sort of saying hello to those lateral edges, which are the book binding on the front and back side of your body, running up the sides of the legs, sides of the torso, sides of the neck. And just for fun, you can swing it a little bit further into that bear swing kind of experience. And then slow it down. All right, feet a little bit wider than your hips. Turning the foot, let's start with our right foot. Turn your right foot onto its edge. Feet a little bit wider and draw some circles. The right foot's on its edge so that you can start to say hello to that lateral edge of the shin. Fibularis muscle. It wraps behind the back of the ankle and actually connects to the base of the big toe. So it wraps underneath the arch of the foot. You can bend the knees here, maybe switch directions if you haven't already. All right. And then from there, you can keep the weight on that foot. You're going to step across it. And then that foot stays to its edge behind you. Right arm lifts because the right foot is behind you. And you create this long line from the back edge of your right foot up the back or the right edge of your right leg, up the edge of your right rib cage, shoulder, heart lifting, and then you turn down and turn up and just sort of floss that edge of the body, decrystallizing matted tissue, helping us breathe free, reaching over and stepping back. And then taking your weight to the opposite foot for a moment, railing, wall, chair, anything beside you for balance. Same leg is going to come up and cross above the knee and scoop the arms in front to sit back a little and then stand back up. So scooping and standing. Again, have the hands on a desk, on a chair, on the wall. Next time you scoop, you can just pause, articulating the tailbone, reaching back, heart reaching forward and up. Arms lift up to maybe the horizon, shoulders stay relaxed, ears. I remember that one of the first cues I ever heard from a yoga video was to relax your ears. And I remember being like, that's impossible. And then something in me was like, but what if I tried? Slowly standing up. That same leg's going to go back down and we take a knee. Left foot's in front, nice and wide, fingertips on floor, big circles with your hips. both directions if you haven't already. You can walk that foot in a little bit for stability, pressing down through both feet. The back foot can be flat or tucked. Arms are going to lift, and just try to feel yourself finding that deep core awareness. Arms relax down. It can be felt as just stability. As the arms approach the horizon, there's a stabilizing action that happens without us even clenching anything. A stabilizing force, deep postural muscles. And then from that, you can continue to lift up. The shin presses down, the heart lifts up, and the hips drift forward. Shoulders relax down the back. For a little bit extra, you can relax the hands to the knee and lean away from the grounded knee. You can feel that getting up across the hip. Then reaching up. Option, letting the hand drift back. It might find that heel. I often have to tuck the toes to find my heel. And then lifting the front arm, the left arm up. Slowly back. Hands come down for support. Both feet come up under the hips. Relax the spine, long like a waterfall, flowing forward and down, not just down. And then follow that waterfall up as you press the feet, tuck the tail, roll the spine. Arms or shoulders rather float up and back. Couple of those. And then we'll bounce. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and shake 1. All right, excellent. And we'll take a seat. Just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah, the other side. Pietro reminded me we had a whole another side to go. Left foot's going to sickle onto its edge and some circles. Switching direction, bending your knees a little, tapping into the breath. Since you have the pathway down, you can tap into the breath and feel more as you move. Stepping across foot, left arm rises up, reaching back and down through the edge of the foot, along the whole edge of the body, length, and then with that length, a little turn of the heart back and forth. Slowly lengthening up, stepping back to Tadasana. Take a moment. Feel the edges of the feet, how they suction to the floor. The weight will shift to the right foot, left leg will cross above it. Grab for support anything around you, scoop and sit. As you scoop, the tailbone reaches down and back, and the heart glides up. Shoulders stay relaxed. Instead of coming up into your ears, they stay relaxed down the back. You're welcome to pause, roll your ankle a little bit, articulate the tailbone, draw the abdominals towards the spine as you lift a little through your heart. Standing up, that leg extends forward and back behind us. Big hula hoops with your hips. Opposite way. Foot walks in a little bit to give you that stability. And then just a couple of lifts to the horizons as say hello to the deep core. And the next time the arms float up, they can keep floating through the horizon with that upward lift through the heart, hips and heart lifting and drifting forward. Shoulders relax. Option to lean a little away from the grounded knee. And second option to tuck back toes and touch heel with fingertips as you keep lengthening up. And then feel free to come forward back to a table position. I'm going to leave you for a minute for counter poses. So you can come through table, maybe a downward dog would be nice. Maybe just pausing in plank or bhaktasana. But take that last minute for yourself. And we'll start to find our seat. Anandama, good to see you. Welcome. So this is our second week focusing on Dharana 10, which, there's a lot of ways to interpret it, but the direction we've gone with it has been this concept of focus and the benefits and the rewards of it. Had some really cool openings here last week, just talking about that after class and what it brought. I found myself really wanting to dive into it more. Um, I wanted to just say hello to the Dharna again, also by translating it line for line based on the commentary that was presented in the Swami Lakshmanjoo version. So I've sort of taken it apart and we'll translate it and then we can sit with it again. So let me just see here. There we go. Okay. Oh, I guess I could do it here. Idrashena Kramanaiva. Idrashena Kramanaiva. By adopting the means, Yatra Kutrapi Chintana, Yatra Kutrapi Chintana, of one pointed awareness, whether that be on Sunya, void of the sky, Kuje, void of the wall or a wall, or Parapatre, heart of a disciple. Discipline was sort of auto-corrected there, sorry, heart of a disciple. Swayam Lina reveals Vara Prada, the boon giver, Shiva. By adopting the means of one-pointed awareness, whether that be on the void of the sky, a wall, or the heart of a disciple, this reveals the boon giver, Shiva. So we'll sit with that just for a moment. And then one other translation, because I want to keep sitting with this for a moment, was given to us by Jai Deva Singh. And that was more like this. Oh, lost it. Sorry, give me 1 second. Here we go. In this way, successively, wherever there is mindfulness, on whether void, on wall, or on some excellent person, that mindfulness is absorbed by itself in the Supreme and offers the highest benefaction. And finally, one last translation here from Paul Reps, which is going to seem a little odd because he actually put this with another Dharana. So I'm just going to read the portion that it's from, portion that relates to our work. He says, similarly, at any point in space or on a wall, until the point dissolves, then your wish for another comes true. I should start it one more time. Let their beauty melt within. Similarly, at any point in space or on a wall, until the point dissolves, then your wish for another comes true. Just for fun, you could try gazing at a point that might not be on your shrine, might not be an obvious point, and just take note of the feeling that you get when you're able to steady a soft gaze. Remember, it's not a staring gaze, it's a soft gaze. When you're able to steady your focus on any point at all, any object whatsoever. Patanjali wrote in his Yoga Sutras that whenever your mind is busy or you're experiencing some of those obstacles and resistance to growth, one of his methods was simply focusing on any task whatsoever and just keeping your focus there. We will continue to work in this way, but I wanted to bring one more aspect of the Dharana into focus based on some of these translation. Actually, I wanted to highlight two more aspects that we can work with in our practice. One is right at the top where it says, by adopting the means of one pointed awareness, chintana or chintana, it's a long A, I guess. in any case, Swami Lakshmanjoo actually goes out of his way. Well, he doesn't go out of his way. The next verse in the Vijnana Bhairava that he translates talks specifically about chintana and says that it's different than dhyana, which is what we might normally refer to as meditation. How is it different? So let's take a moment to read that. Derek, you look like you're ready to press unmute. Do you want to read this for us, this next quote?
Swami Lakshmanjoo translates and interprets the next verse contained in this Dharana. When samketa, which are everyday thoughts and logic, is put aside and you concentrate on that sabda, which is feeling, that is dhyana and patha. Just to maintain that, you have to do that concentration of that one pointedness that is sintana. So sintana is more subtle than dhyana.
Thanks, Derek. Way to go for it on the Sanskrit words. That's how we get there. So that's awesome. So when everyday thoughts are put aside and you concentrate on this internal quality, this feeling or this mantra, he says that is meditation, but that is dhyana. Just to maintain that, you have to maintain that state, point us to this other word that's in the current dharana, chintana, or chintana. Yeah. So chintana is more subtle, the Vijnana Bhairava says, than meditation, meaning it's more advanced, it's deeper, it requires more focus. So the kind of focus this dharana is specifically talking about, it's to my understanding, based on this verse and Swami Lakshmanjoo's commentary as well, is sustained focus. When you can sustain your focus, something magical happens. When you can hold your focus, something very special can occur. So if we look back at the translation, by adopting the means of one pointed awareness, which is sort of, we just talked about the sustained focus, no matter what that's on, and then at the bottom, this will be the last part, reveals the boon giver, and it specifically is translated as the boon giver. Swami Lakshmanjoo goes out of his way to say Vara Prada translates to meaning, giver of boons. So it doesn't even say Shiva precisely, even though it's referring to Shiva. It doesn't say your true nature is revealed. It doesn't even say like bliss or anything. It says the boon giver is revealed. The boon and boons are gifts. They are these spiritual gifts or these gifts that help you grow, but they're gifts. And so these gifts are revealed. And so I really enjoyed the subtlety there of saying like, okay, what is being asked of me in this dharana? Sustaining my focus and then almost on anything at all, and sort of reveals or brings to me this gift, a gift. It's these days, to be very mundane with this interpretation, we sort of have the ability to get ourselves gifts whenever we want them, right? I mean, it's an unprecedented time of, I think I need something, go on your phone, the credit card information stored in there. It's one click purchasing. It's on its way. We live in Hawaii. It takes 2 weeks to get to us. Where you all live, it could be like same day stuff. So we live in a time when this particular dharana could not be more challenging to understand. It's almost like saying when you have that urge to grab this thing from outside of you to make you happy, wait, sustain your internal focus and allow it to come to you, maybe. We do better at this sometimes than others. If you're going through a stressful time, if you're tired, you're not getting enough sleep, uh, you can find yourself looking for distraction a lot more. Other times you're feeling good, you're exercising, things are going well, you're able to surrender those distractions. We're all going through ups and downs, in our vitality levels, and we're able to do this better than other times, but we know there's something there for us. And this Dharana says, if you can sustain your focus, the gifts come to you. So let's pause for a moment. We're going to sit a little bit more with some of those focal points, and then we'll jump into our discussion and reflection. Just looking for the cool. You're welcome to practice one-pointed awareness at your shrine or at, it says, a wall, any object. So try to soften your gaze, yet have intention behind it. Notice that the body also needs to reflect that same concept where there's intention and effort in your seat, yet there's a soft sustainability to it. I would say that in terms of the koshas, this dharana can be practiced at any level, right? So the physical posture can itself have these qualities of one-pointedness, of stillness. The breath is one of our greatest allies when we are practicing focus, because we can be still and it still moves, and it allows us to have a focal point that's dynamic and interesting and feeling. So try to feel the breath in its many stages. And the part of the dharana that we've been waiting for, which I guess no pun intended, is this concept of waiting. The boon giver is revealed. It's almost like having a present in front of you that's wrapped and just being with it. As the mind drifts into thoughts, essentially, we are seeking our own gifts in those moments. We're sort of finding our stimulation, so to speak, in those thoughts. Try to let yourself feel the experience of not stimulating, of purposefully releasing, of not reaching. And the mantra Ham Sa can be helpful here. Ham as you inhale, Sa as you exhale, which means I am that. I am the gift I'm trying to open. Let yourself be fully present in the room you're in, with the sounds that surround you, with the body you are contained within. Just be in it. Observe it. And just for a couple more minutes, don't even try to change anything. That could mean not scratching an itch. It means not scratching a thought. And you can really allow yourself to anticipate the joy of the gift that will be revealed through this work. This isn't solemn work. This work reveals gifts. So as you breathe into your heart, let the heart start to reveal itself as you surrender the external thoughts. The heart becomes easier to feel. It's like the sounds of the mind calm and the feeling of the heart emerges. And if you don't feel your heart at any given point, ask yourself, well, am I thinking? Can I let go of this thing that's sort of distracting my mind in order to allow the heart to emerge over time? Can I surrender a little bit more one pointedly? Welcome to move the spine a little bit if you're feeling in any way stiff, or roll your shoulders. And let's see if we can keep that focus going for just 2 to 3 more minutes as we write a few notes about your experience with the practice or with the Dharana, etc. I'm going to play some journaling music, see if it's enjoyable for you. is choppy. It's hard for me to hear you. Oh, okay. All right. So you can enter a word in the chat box from your writing. Hopefully my sound is better now. Cool. Okay. Interesting. Anyway. All right. So balancing on a beach ball. Pointed focus, softening and dancing before my eyes. I am here. Attention, a humble servant, a greedy master. Waiting without expectation, allowing, surrendering in order to allow. Less monkey mind, softer heart, better than Amazon. No words. How do I bring focus into my day? Absorption versus awareness. Nice. Wow, we have a lot of wonderful directions to go here. Please open the door for me, someone. You just go like this and then pull it open. All right, Anandama.
Well, I found when you were talking about waiting, that for me, when I wait, that there's then a level of expectation that something's going to happen. So I'm waiting for, like the play, waiting for Godot. I'm waiting for something. So instead of that idea of waiting, for me, it's more of this opening up. It's really that surrendering, letting it go. And then without any expectation, grace will arise, an answer will arise, or the boon will arise. But it's never when I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for you. It's more when I have to let that go as well, because then I'm still grasping with my mind or my heart or my being.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're waiting, like you're saying, if you're waiting for something, it's very limiting. Yeah.
Because you don't know what it's there. So I had that experience this morning. So I put myself on medicine booty. You guys might have seen it. I've gone through some a rough week, and I literally through my tensions, and I clung to this emotion, and I made myself physically ill. So I called Swami G Priyanama, and I talked to her yesterday and this morning, and it's been better, but I was really disappointed in myself. I thought, wow, I have this practice. I should be letting this go. And she said, well, imagine how you'd feel if you didn't have the practice. So then this morning in my meditation, I started with bodhicitta, with boundless compassion, and I really struggle with understanding that, embodying what compassion is when it's not feeling sorry for somebody else. I have a hard time with this. But I usually start with boundless love, and I couldn't get there. I was like, okay, I'm just going to work with boundless compassion before I start Tara mantra. And I totally just listened to Swamiji's words, I surrendered into this, I really worked to let go. And all of a sudden, the boon that I received for me was that compassion was giving myself grace and giving others grace. And that helped me. It's been a little game changer, just started today, but it really shifted. And I understand that compassion. So that's an example of this boon that I feel like I experienced this. It's like, how many times do I have to experience before I trust the process? That's the other thing I came up with, over and over again. But it was really lovely this morning to have that experience. And then here tonight to have that explained again. So there was no expectation. I was just really I did ask for help from the gurus and from Tara, she's my Ishta Devi, to understand this compassion and be able to give it to myself. And then surrendering, as Swamiji said, surrendering into she wrote, surrender into the river of awareness. And then I got that boom. So that was a lot, but thank you all for listening.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing the practice and sort of generating that growth and then sharing the icing on the cake with us. That's what that felt like. That was nice. And I think you sort of tapped in. I'm not going to comment on everything, but like I really want to just comment on what stood out to me there at the end was the asking for help is such a perfect example of one way to interpret this dharana, because when you ask for help, you're really putting yourself, you're saying like, you're putting your attention out there. You're putting your awareness, you're saying, I'm willing to do the work and I'm willing to sort of wait for you to answer. And you ask for help. And then it's like, when I ask for help, I really just like, please, help me get through this. And then you're willing to, and the wait, maybe not the right word, but you're willing to be in that uncomfortable space without trying to solve it, without trying to change it. You're willing to be there consciously. And then from that the answer emerges, or the experience, you emerge, you rise up. But it's like, that's such a great example. I would never have put the concept in with this concept, but now it's like very clear. Like, that's a great example of putting this into practice, is when we ask for help. And asking for help is one of those practices that people, we don't tap into it till we're feeling pretty low, but and maybe we're not supposed to, I don't know, but it's such a powerful practice. And I hope everybody knows that it's real and it's not just like a last minute move. Go ahead, Anandama.
Swami Priyanama, she told me yesterday, she said, you don't just say, hey, can I have some help? She goes, you say, help, I need help. And you just cry it out and really, like you said, you put yourself out there and then you open up to whatever that help is, because you don't know what's going to be best for you. And so I thought, okay, I had never really asked for it like that, like screaming at the top of my.
It froze there. I don't think, yeah, it's funny. It froze screaming at the top of my, and I think, yeah, maybe the Shakti was like, maybe not screaming, but.
Not screaming.
Well, let's leave everybody figure it out for yourself when the time comes, because the beauty of it is it comes from a deep place within. And sometimes if you're not used to asking, you need to speak up. That's awesome. Thanks, Anandama. Good to have you here. Looking around, about to call on. Okay, Derek, go for it.
So I had a real cool experience with this. It seems like, I guess because, the visual sense is such a strong sense, that having that focus on a point on the wall, or I was actually looking at first a thumbtack on my desk and then this little handle on my desk. And like you said, not a staring contest, just this subtle gaze with blinking, quite often. And I don't know, my body just softened and I felt peaceful. And then the desk just is kind of doing this around the focal point. And, I put in the chat, I am here. And I just felt really present in this room, sitting in this chair, soft focus with this, my desk kind of dancing in the background. And it was just kind of trippy, but not scary at all, and just peaceful and a great, cool experience.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, I think you really encapsulated that experience that I absolutely, that's the experience I have too. It's just this deep peacefulness where you just feel like I'm here. I'm just almost like that sigh of relief kind of experience, or how you feel after like a project is finished, something where you're just like, you're just allowed to be here and not, you don't have to be pressing forward. And you're like, and you did that on purpose, and you're actually feeling it. It's like life brings that experience to us occasionally, but we seem to have that power when we want to and when we're willing to do it. Thanks, Derek. That was awesome. Really fun to hear from you.
Hello?
Hey,
Can you
Yogita.
see me? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I never thought about waiting in the context of meditation. I do a lot of waiting because I go by taxi, and I was thinking about that. I'm sitting there, I go, is that the car? Is that the car? And I guess most of the time I just try to entertain myself, on the phone while I'm waiting. And most of the time waiting is boring. I don't know. um, but then when I think about a gift, my relatives are always kidding me that when I get gifts for Christmas, I never wait until Christmas Day, that I can't wait, I have to open the gift. So I was just thinking about the different connotations of waiting.
Thanks. It's fun. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting experience. Today at lunch, it just happened that there was, people had a few different things to do at that specific time, or no, it was breakfast. And I was like, sort of happened to be at the breakfast table on my own. And I knew this class was coming up, and I was like, I should do something productive while I eat breakfast by myself. And I was like, I'm good. I was like, I'm just going to eat. I was like, food tastes pretty good. I want to enjoy it. It's fun to just chew, swallow well, look out. And it's just this thing where we can't always do that. Sometimes we need to have some fun. Sometimes we need some distraction. It's just a part of being real. But on the other hand, I remember one time I was in that very same situation, and I said, it was years ago, and I was like, should I do something? It was exactly the same scenario. Probably should use this example first. And I was like, should I read this magazine, or should I just like eat my lunch and just sort of be here? And in that moment, like a whale jumped like out of the water. And I was like, well, that is an answer. Um, and I think it's little things like that that probably motivate me to do that again and again. But I feel like I, that waiting time, there's just, what I try to do with it is I try to do something in the beginning of it that's a little bit practice oriented. And then I almost use, like, if I want to do something distracting, use that as like a reward, almost like my mom would do with me when I was a kid. Like, you got to sort of earn it. And so I play that little bit of a game where, like, can I earn like this reward? And what ends up happening a lot is a different gift emerges. Than I would have gone for from the initial moment. So yeah, I think it's cool you brought that dynamism up, because I think we all go through those moments a lot during our day. I always think of like haikus being written in that space of waiting. Like it always feels like that's where the poetic observation happens. It's always in that space of like, it's in that sort of in between space when we, like that's when I always feel like you get to see the world almost behind the scenes, because you're not entranced by anything in particular. But oh, we are closing in, 60 seconds left. Yeah, let's wait. Abaya said. See if any inspiration bubbles up. If anyone wants to share in that last moment, feel free. Oh, that's remember Paul Rep said that's how the Amish do it. Or is it Amish, or is another religious sect who's saying they wait for the hunch to arise. They'll sit in a room together and they only speak, they wait for inspiration, and they'll just sit in the room quietly and not say anything. If Quakers, and it's like their church service has that part built into it.
I think we as Americans, we don't feel comfortable with the space, with
That's so true.
waiting. We feel like we have to fill up that space. We have to say something, you
Oh
know?
boy, I do. I remember when I was in 7th grade and I wanted to call a girl that I liked. I was so nervous about the silent space on the phone that I made a whole list of questions that I would ask her if there was silence. And I didn't even get to the questions. I was just like, oh, okay, I'll talk to you later. Like, yeah, I grew up very uncomfortable with that space for sure. Well, thanks everyone for being here. That concludes Dharana 10, so namaste. Thanks for your participation, and I hope it continues to unfold and emerge for you in your own way. This translation of it was fun for me. I found myself wanting to like chant it a little bit. I don't know if we got any musicians out there. I think it could be a really cool chant, but I'm just throwing it out there. Next week we'll be doing yoga in the natural state. That means outdoors and naked. I'm just kidding. We'll be doing yoga together. We call it natural state because it's attempting to really move more fluidly. And then the week after that, we'll be hearing from Chaitanya. So back into our flow here. Look forward to seeing you then. Thanks again for being here.
Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Mm-hmm.
Bye, Kazuo. Saw your hand there.
Shri